Hey VC, it's Joel coming at you from Planet 13, and these are my pickups for November and December of 2021. I picked up about 10 albums, so I'm just gonna hop right into it. So first album I picked up is the Aerosmith, The Road Starts Here. This was the Black Friday Record Store Day release by Aerosmith, and it cost me 20 Canadian dollars, which works out to be 15 American dollars. And man, you get some good value for your money with this one. For that price, I never see albums that inexpensive anymore. So unless they're used, and even used tend to be like 30 bucks now in Canada. It's getting ridiculous. I'm buying less and less albums, and yeah, you've heard me complain about this enough, so I won't complain about it too much. But just buying something brand new for $20 Canadian is just so refreshing. And yeah, this isn't like super produced or anything. It's a 2-track recording that was recorded before their debut was even released, and it's done it in a rehearsal space, I guess, before a show maybe or something. I don't know the exact details, but it's 2 tracks. You get Tyler's vocals on one track, and you get the band on the other track. 7 songs on here. Dream On, Mama Kin being the biggest hits. It's also a gatefold album, and that's nice to see. And it's cool, gatefold. It's just showing pictures of the band before, when they were kids and whatnot. That's really cool to see. And you get some nice custom inner sleeves as well. So this one's kind of cool. It kind of shows what Joe Perry would have mailed this off to, I guess. So you get his original address in Boston, which is cool. And I guess most of the band lived there as well. And on the other side, you get the recording studio kind of information there. Very cool stuff. It's a record store day first, so if you didn't buy this and it's off the shelves, don't worry, it's coming back. But from what I've seen, I still see it on shelves, and it's still at 20 Canadian dollars in a lot of places, so that's kind of cool. And you get some notes on the album as well, which I have not read yet. I always love getting this stuff, but I never read it, and I plan to, probably when I retire. That's my goal, to read this stuff when I retire. It's not that I'm even that super busy. I guess we all are super busy to a degree. There's just so many distractions, and reading my eyes just kind of suck, and I have to have like the perfect light to see anything anymore. Even though I got these big glasses on, I got trifocals now. I'm in my 40s, and the things used to take advantage, just like reading. Now I need like bright daylight just to read anything. So that's probably what's holding me back, because my record room is just kind of dimly lit. There's not a lot of light in there because I draw the curtains so like the records don't get sun on them, so they don't fade, and you know what I'm talking about if you're a collector, I guess. We're all probably about the same. Next album I picked up, and this is Let It Be. My knowledge of the Beatles isn't that great. This is my 3rd Beatles album. I'd buy more, but they're so expensive. They were expensive even back 5 years ago. Now they've gotten even more expensive. I paid $32 Canadian for this, which is about 26, 27 American. But then if I didn't pre-order this, like it would be now like 30 American. It just seems like a lot. That's not even that a lot anymore compared to how things are getting expensive. But yeah, great album. I enjoy this a lot. So the only other albums I have are Abbey Road and the White Album. This one, it's up there. I like it just as much as the other albums, I'd have to say. The one track I like the most is Dig a Pony, and I've never heard anyone really talk about that song. The big hits on here, I guess, are Across the Universe and Let It Be, and I Got a Feeling. I think that was pretty big. I think Pearl Jam covered that. But Dig a Pony, I love the drumming on that. I love Ringo's drums on that. And yeah, this just comes on standard black. You get the Apple label and nice polyline sleeve. I'm sure you've heard enough people talk about this, so I'm just going to move on to my next album. So next album is Echo and the Bunnyman. This is their biggest album, I guess, by far. That if you buy an Echo and the Bunnyman album, this is the one to buy because it's got the Killing Moon on it. Killing Moon was a song I was familiar with from the movie Donnie Darko. When that movie came out, I was just fascinated with it, and it had like a lot of retro 80s songs on it, Killing Moon being one, so I love that song. And this is a reissue that came out. I think they all came out on colored vinyl and black vinyl. I got the black vinyl one, 180 gram. I wanted to get more albums by them, but I really got to tone back my spending. So I just got the big album, the big one with the hits. And I think that's enough. It's still a lot for me to digest. This is an album I'll probably have to sit on for a while just to really respect the band, because I didn't know the other songs. And it's just kind of a different kind of music than I'm used to. I mostly like hair metal and heavy metal, and this is neither of those. And I was kind of familiar with their 2000 output. I was kind of into Killing Joke back then, because when Donnie Darko came out, I bought their latest album. I really like that, and that's quite a departure from this kind of stuff. But this, I watched YouTube videos of them, and I just couldn't believe how young they were, and just putting out this amazing music. Like, they look like young teenagers when they put out their first album. They looked like they were in high school, like 16, 17, and they just looked like babies. And it's just amazing that they're putting out quality music at that age. Next album I picked up, there's only 1,000 released, and I was surprised I got a copy. This is the only album I bought off Amazon, I believe. And this is Life, Sex, and Death. This is, I think, a music on vinyl put this out. Limited to 1,000 copies, at least in this color variant. I'm sure they'll repress it with another color and limit that to 500 or 1,000. I think I got copy 1,000. I'm not sure. It says that there. Maybe I'm just missing my copy number and they all are like this, but mine says 1,000. So maybe I got copy 1,000. Maybe they just didn't number the number. I don't know. But this is not a gatefold, unfortunately. This is also a very strange band. If you've never heard of them, I could see why. This was kind of like the time, it was in between grunge and hair metal, and that band kind of reflects them. And they had like a gimmick where I guess the singer was apparently homeless and looked like a hobo and dressed like a hobo and apparently smelled like a hobo. So you can kind of see him in the back there, kind of creeping out there. His name was Stanley. And I guess people were sort of turned off by him in concerts, that they didn't sell a lot of albums. But the rest of the band, talented musicians, but they look kind of like glammy. But this guy in the back looks grungy. And the album itself, it's kind of a blend of both, I'd say. It's got grunge and kind of glam metal elements. And this is on this beautiful transparent or translucent red. Just gorgeous. Seeing it on camera does not do it justice. Just looks like a lollipop near the end with the translucentness. Just very cool looking album. And I'm familiar with this band from Much Music. We used to have a show called The Power 30. It used to be called The Power Hour. I'd come home from high school every day and I'd watch it, and they'd show like Skid Row and Motley Crue, and then they were showing this band for a while during the kind of the alternative era when Alice in Chains and Nirvana and Soundgarden were really taking off. So that's where I kind of found out about this band. They're worth checking out, but before you buy the album, I'd check them out because they have a very kind of different sound to them and very unique vocals. Next album I picked up is like a greatest hits. It's Killing Joke, their single collection from 1979 to 2012. I want to get more into Killing Joke. This is a band I discovered in 1994 from the song, it's called Millennium. It was like an industrial kind of song. And then I later found out they were in a new band. They've been around since 1979. But CDs were expensive back then, so I never got into them. You didn't have YouTube back in the 90s, right? So the only way I heard music was the radio, Much Music, which is our Canadian version of MTV, and going to nightclubs where I heard Millennium. That was a big nightclub single that I heard a lot back then, and I loved it. And I never bought the album, but I'm happy to have this now on vinyl. It's just their singles collection. This was 50 Canadian dollars for 4 LPs. Good value. I was going to buy some of their original albums, but they go for an album itself. It's $50. So I'm like, why would I buy an album that I don't know nothing about when I can get all their singles for the same price. And maybe I'll go back and buy the reissued albums for $50 at one point if I really fall in love with this band. Not much to the packaging. On the back, you get all like the single covers or album covers. Again, I don't know too much about this band, but I'm loving these singles. I listened to it first on Spotify, and I just love this song called The 80s. It just was a cool song. And apparently, I guess Smells Like Teen Spirit lifted from the song The 80s. You can kind of hear that influencing that song, apparently. This is just on black vinyl. There is a color variant. It was $20 more, and I'm like, why would I spend $70 for something that's red when I can get it cheaper? $20 cheaper, which is like 15 American dollars cheaper for just standard black. So I went black. And yeah, recommend this for the price. 4 LPs, a lot of songs on here. Lots of good listening. Kind of in the same vein as gothy, industrial, punkish. Another UK band is Sisters of Mercy. I got their greatest hits. I think I have all their vinyl now except for their first album. And that just goes for ridiculous prices, so I haven't picked it up yet. Yeah, this is cool. This is done on 2 LPs. Not much to it, but it sounds great. You just get some lyrics. This is another band like I don't really recommend. They're kind of cheesy goth, and they know it. And but I love it. I love cheesiness. Just black album, very simple. Really enjoy this stuff. They kind of only released 3 albums, and then this greatest hits. I think this came out in 91 or 92, and then they haven't released anything since. And they just tour. They're just, I guess the guy figured out, the singer, he's like, yeah, I guess everyone just wants to hear this old stuff, so that's all I'm going to do. I don't know. I was surprised that they never continued on, but they're still touring. And yeah, cool band. Next album I picked up, this is an industrial album from kind of a gothy, kind of bluesy singer. It's Danzig V. I don't recommend this album. This is his least best album. Some say it's worst album. I like this album a lot. It's industrial. I liked it when it came out. I still enjoy it to this day. I was surprised as heck to see this be released on vinyl because there are other albums by him that are way better that need to be released on vinyl. And then they released his, what people consider his worst. And they consider it's worse because you buy a Danzig album for his voice. And in this voice, it's kind of muffled and treated like with industrial vocals. You don't have that big, bombastic, bluesy voice that Danzig has, that powerful voice. It's just, you know, it's kind of got that Trent Reznor kind of voice going on. This is on silver vinyl. And yeah, very cool. Jerry Cantrell does some songs on here as well. Jerry Cantrell being the guitarist from Alice in Chains. And Danzig does a cover as well as some originals. Sacrifice was the big hit on here. And the cover song, it's a Black Sabbath song. Hand of Doom. Hand of Doom is the song he did as the cover. Yeah, there's the insert there. Or the gatefold there. So yeah, really cool album. Recommend it. If you've heard it before and you want it, get it. If you don't like Danzig, don't buy it. Don't start with that one. Definitely don't start with that one. Next album I picked up, and I'm moving into my soundtrack section, so if you don't like soundtracks, now's the time to stop watching. I got the Batman Forever soundtrack. This is the one with the Seal song. We all know the Seal song, Kissed by a Rose, right? This is the one with that song. It's also got U2's Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, and Kill Me. And then you get a lot of other very unusual bands on here that don't even appear in the movie. You get Brandy, which was fitting for the time. You get PJ Harvey, which is cool. You get Nick Cave, Massive Attack. You get Mazzy Star. You get The Offspring doing Smash It Up. Method Man. Michael Hutchence doing The Passenger. So singer of INXS doing a Iggy and the Stooges cover. And you get Sunny Day Real Estate and The Flaming Lips. So just a weird mishmash of songs. Very unusual. This comes on a nice little gatefold, which is cool to see. And 2 LPs. One's on, I think, red and one's on blue, maybe? No, silver. So yeah, you get like a silver album. And then what is the other color? There's another color. Also comes in polyline sleeves, which is nice to see. Most of these albums, except for Killing Joke, have been polyline so far, which is nice to see. Yeah, second album is on blue. So that's cool to see. Nice and colorful, cartoony. I've never actually seen the movie. I've only seen the Tim Burton Batman and the Batman Return, the second Tim Burton one, and then the recent ones with Christian Bale. So yeah, you get a nice little picture on the insert, and you get some just song information as well with some more pictures. So very colorful, nice packaging, good album. Next soundtrack I got was Creepshow, Creepshow 2. Not the best movie. I really like the Raft. So it's like 3 short stories, I guess, combined and wrapped around with some interludes and whatnot. So I liked the Raft. The guy doing the soundtrack here is Rick Wakeman from Yes. I'm not very familiar with Yes, but yeah, cool insert. It's kind of done in a comic booky style with some nice artwork. Just the packaging and the graphics on this are amazing, and I really like this album as a whole. It's very synthy, I guess you could say. No real inserts or anything, and it comes on like this swampy kind of oil slick, I guess they call it, color. So that reflects the Raft in the movie. I don't really recommend you watch this movie. Watch the first one. It's way better. And I don't even recommend you watch the first one if you're not like a horror movie fan. The first one was written by Stephen King and directed by George Romero. Has a very cool comic booky look. Has some surprising actors you wouldn't expect in horror movies, like Leslie Nielsen, and the guy from Cheers, Ted. I can't remember his name right now because I'm on camera. I forget people's names when I'm on camera. But yeah, just a lot of people you wouldn't expect in a horror movie. And then, yeah, cool movie. But again, I don't really recommend it unless you're a horror movie fan. And then the final soundtrack I picked up is Taxi Driver. This is Waxwork Records did this one. It's out of print, but I found it at a small record store in Montreal. Very cool album. Very cool artwork on it too. I love this soundtrack. I had it on CD. It's always been one of my favorite soundtracks. And there's the insert there. So the guy who did the soundtrack to Psycho did this soundtrack. You get a nice little booklet in here with some notes by Martin Scorsese. If you like the movie Joker, you'll like this movie because the Joker just lifted everything from this movie, the feel of it and everything, except you don't get the Joker. You get Robert De Niro in one of his best roles ever. And then you get this kind of cool splatter album looking thing. I don't know why I pronounced it all like that, but I just did. Yeah, cool album. Love it. And that wraps up my pickups. So until next time, cheers.